Thank you very much. Don't worry, I don't speak a lot. I will give the floor to Félix. We work together. Félix is a new PhD student, and it will begin. It will be its first presentation in his new academic life, and I prefer to give the floor to the young generation. It's more useful. Then Félix, good chance, and
just full screen. Starting the screen is not working.
yeah, for
Okay, so hello everyone, thank you for being here today. So as Jean-Michel said, I'm a PhD student at ULB here, and today we are going to present the territorial restructuring of fan culture in Belgium. So the presentation will be structured as follows. First, we'll introduce you to the context of football and football fans in Belgium, before introducing our hypothesis and main research question. Then we'll present to you the biggest and the largest survey ever made about ordinary football fans in Belgium. And then we'll discuss the results and finally conclude. So the context of football in Belgium. So traditionally, European football fandom has been really studied as anchored in territory. Indeed, the clubs they often are named after a city, a regions of a neighborhood, and so it instantly anchors them into a territorial space. The clubs are also using the symbols of the city to promote a local image, as are doing the supporters. They use these symbols, the colors of the club, the chants, and the folklore around the football clubs in order to promote and express this local identity. The rhythm of the calendar also creates celebration weekly, where supporters can express in the stadium this identity, and it makes that the football club is more than just a sportive institution. It's becoming a real local and territorial institution where fans can express their feelings. So in Belgium, it's also the case. The link between football and territoriality has deep historical roots. The supporters here too are using their clubs to promote their local identity, and it's particularly relevant in this case because Belgium is a country that is shaped by regional, linguistical, and historical tension across the years. So the football clubs are becoming platforms for the fans to express these feelings. They do it also in the stadiums. They use the tifo to show symbols of the city in which they live, and they also use them in order to conquer space, to install their domination on the city, to say that this is a football game, yes, but this is also a place where we are showing that this is our city. So, as I just mentioned, yes, there is a strong territorial anchoring, but it is also highly unequal. Most football clubs are coming from Flanders, and in Wallonia, only three out of the 5 provinces have no professional football club at all. So it raises an interesting question, because we ask ourselves, how do the fans from this province construct their supporterial identity? And it's also a clear sportive imbalance, because no Walloon clubs has won the title of the first division since the 08-09 season, and last year only 2 out of the 6 Walloon clubs were evolving in the top flight of Belgium. So this is the repartition of the football clubs of Belgium, and as you can see, there is 3 big provinces without any club at all. We also need to speak about the global shift in football fandom, as already been explained. So today, football supporterism is shaped by global mechanisms. The streaming platforms, the international channels, and the social media make that it's easier to support a team that is not located inside your own country, which make it so easier to create a link with the city and develop an identity with a city that is not close to your place of birth or place of domicile. major clubs have also evolved and are now can be now seen as international brands, venues and unprecedented visibility, which make it easier for them to attract a lot of supporters from outside of the country. In Belgium, it's once again particularly relevant. Why? For three main reasons. The first one being that the National Football League in Belgium is kind of uncompetitive or relatively uncompetitive in comparison with other big European leagues, which makes that some supporters that are attached to the performance of a team may want to support a team outside of Belgium because the football is simply better over there. There is also in Belgium a massive exposure to European football. European fixtures are broadcast on free-to-air television in Belgium, which makes it easy for the Belgian supporters to create a link with other teams from outside of Belgium. And finally, we need to speak about the importance of the golden generation in Belgium. So recently, Belgium has had some of the best footballers on the planet. And obviously, they were not playing for clubs, for Belgian clubs, but rather for international clubs, which makes that some supporters, because these players were performing well with the national team, developed attachment to them, and they wanted also to watch them when they were playing for the club, which makes it easier once again to develop attachments to foreign club. So these constatations leads us to our main research question, which is to what extent does Belgian football fandom remain tied to territorial roots, and how are media globalization and generational shift reshaping pattern of attachment to football clubs. From that, we have formulated three hypotheses. The first one being that geographical proximity still shapes supporter behavior. Supporters from province with the club are more likely to support a local club. And on the other hand, those that come from provinces without any clubs, they may turn towards foreign clubs or develop disinterest for Belgian football. The second one being that intensity and motivation of support differ depending on the club, on local attachment. So local fans, they are expected to show stronger emotional engagement based and also to have different motivation of support. So we expect that if the club that you support is in the province of your birth, the motivation for supporting this team are going to be different than if the club is not in the province of birth. And finally, we expect that globalization favors deteriorated fandom, especially among young supporters who consume football more easier through new medias, and also who have been in contact directly with this golden generation of Belgian players. So how are we going to testify this hypothesis? Thanks to the biggest survey ever made about football fans in Belgium. So during April and June 2025, we have made in collaboration with another Belgian university, a Dutch-speaking university, the Université van Bruxelles, and also two of the biggest media groups of Belgium. We have made a survey destined to football supporters, and we have reached more than 21,000 respondents. So that's really, really huge for Belgium. This number has never been reached before when it comes to football fans. And it's also a particularly interesting survey because it covers a wide variety of teams. So we are talking about obviously more classic teams. So So for example, which team do you support? Why do you support this team? Which team you dislike and why? But also we have included some socio-demographic data, the meanings of the supporter about their meanings about the organization of the league. How do they feel about the VAR in Belgium, the referee in Belgium, and so, but also about the political opinions. So that's kind of a big thing. And so we've included two political indicators. The first one being how do you identify yourself politically, and the other one being how do you identify the fans of the club that you support politically. So thanks to this large variety of teams, we can do a lot of study and revolutionize the way we study supporters in Belgium and also maybe in Europe. For this present study, we, however, will be focused on the 8,000 French-speaking respondents. We decided to do so because of the territorial unbalanced repartition of football clubs in Belgium, and in Wallonia, the French-speaking nature of Belgium. So now to the results. So our first hypothesis suggested that geographical proximity remains a major determinant of supports, and the results partially confirm this idea. So among people born in a province with a club, 61% support local teams, and it raised to 77% when you look at the supporters that support Belgian teams only. However, we also see that there is no such disinterest for Belgian football when you're born in a province without any club. The numbers are relatively the same, as well as for the support for foreign clubs. The second hypothesis suggested that supporting a local club would produce stronger emotional engagement. Once again, the results are kind of mixed, I would say. So when we analyze the impact of the results on the mood, we don't see major differences between the locals and the non-local supporters. But when we look at the motivation of support, we can see that local supporters often mention family and friends as motivation to support for clubs, so socialization indicators, whereas the non-local fans, they rely more on other criteria such as the style of play of the club, the results of the club, and also the players that play for the club. Finally, the third one concerns impact of globalization, especially among the younger supporters. And here the results are kind of clear. Supporters for foreign clubs decline progressively with age. So as we see here, the younger you are, the more likely you are to support a foreign club. And this is the case for both just supporting a foreign club and for supporting exclusively foreign clubs. We can see here a clear difference between the youngest and the oldest respondents. And that's also the case for what we have called Global Brands Club. What we call Global Brands Club, it's the club that they've reached at least 3 times the semi-final of the Champions League over the past 10 years. And once again, we see a clear decrease as much as you get younger. And also, we can see the clear results for the one that don't support any foreign club at all. It's very rare to be young and to support no foreign club in Belgium, and it's less the case if you are older. Nearly 50% of the sample for the 70+ years old don't support any foreign club at all. Okay, so in conclusion, we have 3 main key takeaways. The first one being that territoriality still matters, but a little bit less than expected, because yes, local clubs attract support when they exist, but nearly 40% of people born in this province support another club or no club at all. And the absence of local club does not necessarily reduce the engagement with Belgian football or increase the attachment with foreign football. The second one being that local vs non-local support has same emotional intensity but different logics. Emotional impact is kind of similar for both groups, but local supporters rely on identity, tradition, belonging, and socialization. But non-local supporters, they choose based on performance, game style of play, or star players. And finally, we observe a clear generational shift toward globalized supporterism. The young fan, they are really likely to support foreign clubs and more foreign clubs than the oldest, because the older generation, they remain more tied to